Hi, and welcome to a special holiday edition of Quarantine Cocktails with Chad and Nicole.
Today we're discussing mulled wine. So this winter drink consists of hot spiced wine with sugar and fruit. There is no one fixed recipe, as there are many and from many countries, but the range of spices often includes a combination of cloves, cinnamon, star anise, nutmeg, mace, cardamom, and ginger.
And mulled wine dates back to the 2nd century AD when Romans heated their wine to keep them warm during the long winter months, adding spices to improve the flavor. Their far-flung empire spread across Europe and took this winter tradition of mulled wine with it. And in the Middle Ages, the spices were believed to impart medicinal properties.
So many parts of Europe have their own tradition of mulled wine. In Germany, they drink Glühwein, translated as smoldering wine. If you've ever been to the German Christmas markets, they serve it there. Sometimes it's served mit Schuss, that is with a shot of rum or some other liquor added to it.
And an interesting variation of Glühwein is the Feiersongenbowle, which is you place a 9-ounce lump of sugar loaf, which is the refined sugar product that preceded sugar cubes, and place it over a metal punch bowl filled with mulled wine and heated from below. You soak the sugar loaf in rum and set it on fire, and then ladle rum continually over it until the sugar has all melted and fallen into the Glühwein and mixed with it, and then you share it with your friends. And so it's a shared drink, celebrating getting together with your friends, and it has the spirit of Gemütlichkeit, which is warmth and good cheer.
So in the Nordic countries, they have glögg or glüg, starting with hot water and spices, wine, fruit juice, and or spirits are mixed in, along with citrus peels, raisins, or almonds. In Sweden, glögg consumption actually more closely ties to the celebration of St. Lucia's Day on December 13th than it does to Christmas, but it's generally regarded as a Christmas tradition now.
Yep. So it's unclear when mulled wine was introduced to England, but clearly it was popular by the Victorian-era, so much so that there was a well-known group of spiced hot wine drinks known as the ecclesiastics. Smoking bishop, based on port; smoking archbishop, made with claret; smoking pope, made with burgundy, and etc.
So the smoking bishop famously makes an appearance at the very end of Dickens A Christmas Carol, where Ebenezer Scrooge is making amends and sits down to share a bowl of smoking pope with Bob Cratchit. Here again, we see the sharing of the bowl as a symbolic shared goodwill and good cheer, certainly appropriate for the holidays.
Yes. So smoking bishop is what we'll be making today, and it's based on port. Port is, of course, a wine product of Portuguese origin. The Romans brought wine to Portugal in the 2nd century of BC, and it was long a wine-growing region.
So there was brisk trade in Portuguese wine to England as far back as the 15th century, as England and Portugal were longtime allies dating back to the Treaty of Windsor in 138.
No, sorry, 1386. I lost a digit there.
I was like, wow. Okay, that makes more sense. This is the longest standing political alliance known today. They've never waged war or fought on opposing sides since that time.
That's right. By the late 1600s, the bulk of the wine from Portugal was shipped to England out of the town of Oporto, and hence the term port wine became the term for this wine coming from Portugal to England, and it was sometimes fortified for transport by the addition of brandy.
So changes in British tax law in the year 1700 made it such that wine from Portugal was taxed at a third of the rate of French wine, which helped make port wine much more accessible to the growing middle classes of England.
That's right. It's also interesting to note that it wasn't until the 1800s that the fortification process with brandy was actually part of the fermentation process earlier in the process, but it became widespread by the 1800s, and by the 1850s, it had pretty much been universally adopted by all port wine producers.
So today, today we share a bowl of the Smoking Bishop, fittingly made with port wine, which could be said to symbolize the long-standing friendship between England and Portugal.
Yeah, and we'll celebrate friendship and good cheer in the holiday season. So we prepared our Smoking Bishop ahead of time. You basically place fruit with cloves embedded in the fruit. So use citrus. It was originally using Seville oranges from southern Spain, but those oranges are interestingly more bitter and a bit more sour than our sweet oranges that we have today here. I don't know how widely available they actually are, but it's a cross between a mandarin orange and a pomelo.
Maybe that's why they add more sugar to it?
I think it's part of the reason. So here we kind of simulate that by using oranges and lemons. We add some ginger, and we let that macerate in some red wine overnight. I happen to use fairly inexpensive Malbec. And then we kind of let that sit overnight. If you want to speed the process up, you could use a pressure cooker or a sous vide, but we just decided to let it sit overnight. I also actually added a little bit of ginger liqueur to bump up the ginger flavor of it. Just a little bit of, you could pretty much play with the spicing as you see fit. And then we squeezed the fruit back into the wine mixture and strained it, and then added the port and then some cardamom pods and some cinnamon. And now we've been heating that, and we're kind of waiting for it to smoke. It started to smoke.
I mean, I turned it off. It's warm.
Okay.
So.
Well,
Should be ready.
yeah, so it's smoking right now, but you don't want it to boil because you don't want to boil off the alcohol. You want to keep the valuable alcohol content, which I think is an important part of the good cheer, apparently. And we're going to serve it up, and we've got
Everybody's happier with a little alcohol. Smells good.
Yes.
Would you like yours with a cinnamon
Sure.
stick?
Yeah, sure. So I think traditionally the Smoking Bishop was served just without garnish, but often mulled wine will be served with some of the fruit included, or with cinnamon, or other things, other spices added. So we'll just have our little bit of cinnamon here with our Smoking Bishop in our punch glasses.
Cheers.
So cheers to all of you. Thanks for joining us, and hope you're enjoying some good cheer of your own in a convivial manner with friends, whether virtually or together. Cheers.
It's pretty good.